The water type is the most abundant starter type in Pokemon, and actually the most abundant type in the game. Naturally, as an amateur Nuzlocker of Pokemon myself, I've decided to try and beat Pokemon Gold with only water types. You can get many strong encounters with either a fishing rod or surfing. Winning the run could present some challenges, but should be possible. As per usual, I'm playing with the standard Nuzlocke rules. If a Pokemon faints, I have to release it. I can only catch the first Pokemon on each route, and I have to nickname my Pokemon so that I get more attached to them. Also, the additional rule is that I can only use water types for everything. Some people play with harder rules, but I'm not experienced enough to play with those rules yet. Can I beat Pokemon Gold with only water types? Let's find out. Before we begin, I'd like to ask you to subscribe. The choice is ultimately yours, but I'm a very small YouTuber, so any support would be greatly appreciated. Also, I'm writing the script as I go along with the challenge. Enjoy the video. As water is a starter type, you can pick up a Totodile from Professor Elm. As far as I can tell, with my limited Pokemon knowledge, we can't get any encounters for the first gym, which goes off without a hitch. Now we can get the old rod from a guy in the Pokemon Center just before Union Cave, and the encounter table really starts to expand. In New Bark Town, we fish for a Magikarp who we end up not catching. Route 29 doesn't have any water in it, so we can move to Cherry Grove City and pick up a Magikarp here. Pay attention to this Magikarp. You're going to see it a lot in this run. Not because it's terribly important at this point, but because it keeps dying. On Route 30 I catch a Poliwag, and on Route 32 I catch a Wooper. In Union Cave I fish up a Goldeen. Goldeen could be super helpful when dealing with the grass types that our Pokemon are weak to. It won't be helpful as a Pokemon that takes neutral hits from grass, such as Tentacool or Gyarados, but being able to hit opposing Pokemon back with super effective Pecks could be very useful. At some point while grinding, Poliwag ends up taking a few too many crits while it wasn't paying attention. Thankfully, on Route 31 I can catch another Poliwag just as easily. Our last encounter before the second gym is a Slowpoke, which isn't very good until it evolves, so not many levels are going into it. Time for Bugsy. Goldeen's Pecks are super useful when dealing with bug types. The two Cocoon Pokemon don't deal very much damage, and luckily I don't get poisoned by Kakuna. The Scyther fight has a bit of back and forth attacking, but I never come close to dying. That's our second gym badge acquired. Next up is the Rival. I was incredibly scared of this Bayleaf who knows Razor Leaf. If any critical hit comes along, we are completely screwed. We got lucky, however, and what happened next was terrifying. My Goldeen was dead to a Razor Leaf here, so I had to risk it all and go for a Supersonic. Not only do we get the 55% accurate Supersonic to hit, we get the stupid Leaf Dinosaur to hit itself twice in a row, taking it down with another peck. Before getting to Goldenrod, we can pick up one encounter, a Krabby from Route 34. I know the dangers of Whitney, so I decided to grind up the entire team to around level 20. What I didn't know, however, was the dangers of facing this specific Pokefan, who had a Raichu, a fully evolved electric-type Pokemon, with Thunderbolt. This definitely looked like a wipe. We managed to hit a Hypnosis with Poliwag and get a couple of water guns off, but I ended up losing 5 Pokemon before a Croconaw comes in and finishes the evil mouse off with a water gun. I considered resetting in this situation, but I've decided that the run is still salvageable, as we can still get the incredibly powerful Gyarados at level 20. We get a couple more levels and take on Whitney. It turns out I overcompensated a bit. After teaching Gyarados Headbutt via TM, we managed to defeat Whitney with a bit of flinching, but altogether, a pretty guaranteed win. Next up, we're able to make our way over to Ecruteak City, catch yet another Poliwag, and move straight into taking on the gym leader. There's a bit of switching shenanigans going on in the fight, having to avoid Dream Eater from Gengar and such, but since we had 2 Pokemon with bites, we were able to obtain our 4th gym badge with relative ease. This allows us to now use Surf outside of battle. For all 0 of you in the know, Surf is a great move, being 95 base power with no drawbacks. It's just a powerful move for all of our water types. I teach it to all of my Pokemon. As a plus, with Surf we can now get a lot of encounters that we couldn't before. That can wait a second though. My tiny brain thought it would be a good idea to make our way over to Mahogany Town and catch the red Gyarados. I nearly wiped, yet again. All that I had left after that was a sad little Goldeen. With our entire team dead, there's only one thing that we can do. Go catch some more encounters. Since I count static encounters as things different from regular encounters, we can catch our court-mandated Poliwag and Magikarp from Route 43 and Lake of Rage. At the Ruins of Alph, we're able to catch a Wooper for the second time and add it to the team. After a little bit, Poliwag evolves into Poliwhirl and Wooper evolves into Quagsire. Next up, in Olivine, we surf up a Tentacool, and on Route 40 we fish up a Staryu. In the Olivine Lighthouse, Magikarp evolves into a Gyarados. Also, in this fight, I had a situation where I hit Double Slap like 9 times, and every single time it hit twice. This move can hit up to 5 times, so I have no idea what the chances are of that happening. One thing that irks me about our team composition is how many of our Pokemon need a Water Stone to evolve. Both Poliwhirl and Staryu need a Water Stone, and so does the Eevee sitting in the box. The only Water Stone we can get in this game is Encanto, which, if I do it at all, will be in a separate video, so I'd like to pick out some encounters that evolve from different means. Well, Goldeen falls to a critical hit quick attack. While losing a Pokemon is always sad, Goldeen, being a pure water type, doesn't provide a lot of value to this team. A bit of grinding, and now the team is all level 30. Yes, I still grinded up Staryu to the same level as the entire team. While it can't be fully evolved after the league, Staryu still has the second highest special attack of the team, only weaker than Tentacruel. Next up is the Fighting Gym. The best move that Primeape has for Tentacruel is Fury Swipes, so it goes down in 2 surfs. Gyarados comes out to fight Poliwrath. We get it down low, but I get confused and put to sleep, so I switch to Poliwhirl to finish it with Strength. Easy. My script says 4th badge here, but it's the 5th badge. Thanks to Dupe's Claws, which is almost optional at this point, I can guarantee a Corsola from Cyanwood City. Corsola brings high defenses and reliable recovery to the table. After that, we can move directly to the 6th gym. We lead with Quagsire for the Electric community. The first Magnemite goes down to a couple surfs. When Steelix comes out, I switch to Tentacruel for its high special attack. Steelix survives a surf and sets up a Sunny Day, so after Jasmine heals, we need 3 surfs to take it out. The final Magnemite comes out, so Quagsire switches in. 2 more surfs deal with the Flying Orb, and we get a 6 easy badge. After getting the team to level 33, we can make our way to Price. It should be mentioned, however, that we cleared out the rocket base in Mahogany. Not talked about, but mentioned. Gyarados is a truly broken Pokemon. This monster rips through the old man's team. Now that we have Whirlpool, we can make our way to the Whirl Islands and catch a seal. While I'm not super stoked about this encounter, Ice is a type we don't have yet, and it could be useful against Claire and Lance. And I also feel like Poliwhirl is starting to fall behind in power. Next up is the Goldenrod Rival fight. If you'll remember the last time we faced him in Azalea Town, we had to get really lucky with Confusion to not wipe to his Bayleaf. Now, with 2 Pokemon that take neutral damage from grass attacks, he shouldn't stand a chance. Staryu falls prey to some bad luck with Confusion against the Golbat, so I'm forced to switch to Corsola to take it out. The Magnemite falls to a single critical hit surf from Quagsire. The Meganium goes down to a few acids from Tentacruel. Sneasel and Haunter are the only 2 Pokemon left, and they easily fall to our team of Swole water types. Just for fun, on my way to Blackthorn, I decided to have a little fun and go to Mount Mortar and catch the 1% Marill. It's not very useful, but I think he's cute. By the time we head into the Blackthorn gym, all of our team is level 38. I'm pleasantly surprised that Staryu has been keeping up well with the rest of our team. While I feel confident in Dewgong and Gyarados, we have Quagsire with Ice Punch in case everything hits the fan. After the fight starts, I realize that Claire's second Dragonair has Thunderbolt. Thankfully, we did have Quagsire to defeat the 2 Dragonairs before Kingdra. When it does come out, it tries to get annoying with smoke screens, but Gyarados ends up landing literally all of its moves. Every gym so far has been easy. I hope this carries on to the Elite Four. The last important battle before the league is the Rival fight. Gyarados one-shots the Sneasel. The Magneton comes out, but it can't handle a single Earthquake from Quagsire. At this point, Gyarados is set up for a sweep. Meganium can't do anything except hit weak body slams. Golbat and Haunter go down to a Strength and a Surf apiece. When Kadabra comes out, I decide to switch into Corsola, as Gyarados is on low HP. After some recovery, Corsola takes out the Kadabra with a final Surf. Grinding wasn't too difficult, as all of our team has Surf to deal with the Ground and Rock type Pokemon in Victory Road. There is one disaster that happens while grinding though. I stopped paying attention for a bit too long, and some confusion hacks combined with a crit killed my Staryu. Staryu would have been super useful and probably wouldn't have died if it had evolved, but lo and behold, he Here we are. We ended up putting our second Slowpoke on the team. Slowpoke is pretty garbage, but Slowbro does have some good bulk to it. No complications arise during the long grind, so at the level of 47, the same level as Karen's Houndoom, we're able to go into the Elite Four. There's no going back now. This is the final gauntlet. First up is Will. We lead with Dewgong against Will's Xatu. Dewgong uses Ice Beam to cleanly one-shot the flying bird. Next, Will sends out Jinx, so we bring in Corsola. Jinx gets me on the edge of my seat with a critical hit Psychic, but Corsola survives on 24 HP and takes out Jinx with a super effective Ancient Power. Will's next decision is to use Exeggutor, but since it doesn't have a Grass-type attack, I can switch in Dewgong and one-shot it with an Ice Beam. Slowbro comes out next, so I send out Gyarados to fire off Strengths. 3 Strengths take out the Slowbro. Will's last Pokemon is a second Xatu, which goes down the same way as the first one. Next up is Koga. The Gyarados gets hit down to red from a confusion, then double teams. We miss a Surf and tank a Give Drain before finishing off the Gyarados. Next up is Fortress. This thing has explosion, so I have to be really careful. I send out Corsola because it resists all of Fortress's moves and is really the most expendable member of the team. Thankfully, no such exploding happens, and Corsola takes out the Fortress and 2 Surfs. Next up is Muck, so I switch to Quagsire. Muck gets clean one-shot by Earthquake, as does the Venomoth. Last is Crobat, so Dewgong comes out. After missing an Ice Beam due to double team, the bat gets absolutely destroyed by a second Ice Beam. Next up is Bruno. With a Water and Psychic-type Pokemon, this should be easy. I have a strategy already. We lead with Slowbro and use Amnesia against Hitmontop. This is because the only super effective moves that Bruno has against my Slowbro are Pursuit and Thunder Punch, both of which are special in this generation. Hitmontop hits a couple digs, then goes down to a confusion. Hitmonlee comes out next and uses Thunder Punch a few times, and then goes down to a couple of confusions. Machamp comes out, then starts hitting Rock Slides. I do risk a critical hit near the end, but Slowbro doesn't get unlucky and defeats the Machamp with yet another confusion. Slowbro's in red health here, so I switch to Gyarados, and Gyarados takes out the Hitmonlee with a couple of Surfs. Bruno's last Pokemon is Onix, and it goes down to a single Surf. Next up is Karen, who can actually be very scary. Umbreon gives us some trouble with Sand Attack and Confuse Ray, but eventually Quagsire takes it out with an Earthquake. Vileplume comes out next because it has Petal Dance, so I bring in Gyarados. Gyarados gets a lucky critical hit, but there's nothing that this plant can do to me anyways, so it goes down. Then Gengar gets sent out, but its strongest Ghost-type move is Lick, which is just horrible. It doesn't stand a chance against our Slowbro. Murkrow comes in next, but Dewgong takes it out in one Ice Beam. The last Pokemon that Karen has is Houndoom, which gets taken out by Quagsire. Next up is the final battle against Lance. Win or lose, this is the end of the run. We step into the final chamber and begin the showdown to win it all.